Hey everyone, how's it going? It's Chaz here from theorygames.com, and today I am going to be showing you the ultimate build for the Swordsman class in Legend of Elements. Okay, first things first, we're going to do a DPS test. So let's see if we use the recommended build for the master level. What is the DPS we're going to get on this Swordsman class? So make sure you stick around to the end because we're going to be comparing the starting DPS to the finishing DPS, and I guarantee you there is going to be a huge difference. Already we're looking at the mid 30 millions. And I think we're going to be changing that quite a lot. So make sure you guys stick around if you want to see that change. Now a little bit about the Swordsman class. We're just about to get the number in here, but about the Swordsman class is it's a very good early game class, right? It has a high DPS and it targets one entity at a time, which is going to be great for those boss fights and great for player fights. Now, it does mean that the Swordsman class is very limited in AoE, or area of effect damage, and so it's not going to be the best at PvE. Now, as you can see, we've just got 48.3 million damage per second there on that test. What we're going to do is we're going to change some of our skills around, okay? So right now, these are the default recommendation skills for Master. And actually what we're going to do is we're going to, first of all, let's change the active skills. So we're looking for Edged Ward, wherever that may be. Here it's here. So we're going to replace it with that. Next up, we want Aureate the Minion. And then for our third active skill, we can actually just keep that as is. This is a pretty solid one, Scripture of Saints. Actually, no, sorry, no Scripture of Saints. Divining Blade. Oh my goodness, it's so hard to say. I feel like I'm doing a tongue twister. Anyway, on to the passive skills. First of all, we're going to go for Elemental Utility. Where is Elemental Utility? Here we go. Replace. Then we're going to go for Crushing Force. Crushing Force here at the top right there. Are you going to replace for me? Thank you, buddy. Then we're going to go for Flurry of Flows. Where are you? Flurry of Flows, top left. And then we're going to go for Cross Strike. There we go. And then last but not least, we're going to go for Cleansing Strike. Down there at the bottom. Okay, awesome. So that's our skill setup. So let me walk you through what we've actually just done. So for this, we're trying to maximize our damage, our attack, and our speed. So those are the three stats that are super important for the Swordsman, okay? You always want to maximize your attack, your damage, and your speed. The speed is usually my priority. That's the one that I'm really looking to maximize. Obviously there's not all the skills will maximize that though, a lot of them won't. But if you do ever see the chance to maximize your speed, definitely go for it because it's going to have a huge impact. So that's us brushed up on our skills. Now let's head on over to spirits. This one's a little bit unique for this game. Again, these are the recommended spirits that the game says, hey, you should definitely use these. Now I'm not going to use them. Now, as you can see here, I only have 3 deploy slots. If you have 5, don't worry. I'm going to walk over through some of the best ones to go through. But real quick, what we're going to do is we're going to kick all of these off for now, and we're going to say reset undeployed. This means we're going to get all our items back that we used to level them up. Now, what am I going to put in here? Let's have a little look. We're going to go for Demon Flame, Celestine, and then we're also going to go for Shadow Paw. Now, some other great ones that you can add in would be Sky Song, Warshade, and Dawn Weaver. These are all pretty solid. Now let me show you why these are solid, okay? So let's click onto each of these. And first of all, we're going to level them up actually real quick. So let's make sure that they are nice and leveled up. So I'll add 69 levels there, and then there we go, pretty even. Okay, so let's check out this first one. After casting Spirit Skill, increase all damage dealt by 7%. Super awesome. After casting Spirit Skill, the player deals 108% attack damage as bonus true damage, with core skills. And then this one, we are going to be increasing the player's attack speed by 10%. So they're all the kind of buffs that we're wanting to hit: the attack, the damage, and the speed. So that is super duper awesome. Now, if you had a look at my other recommendations like Dawn Weaver, I've unfortunately not unlocked Dawn Weaver yet, but it's going to be increasing the player speed again, which would be amazing. And then we also have Warshade as well, where we're going to be increasing damage dealt, and also damage reduced as well. But really what we're looking for in this build is we're looking to try and increase that DPS as much as possible. Now on the other recommendation, Sky Song, again, this is going to deal 45% attack as bonus true damage. So that's also pretty awesome. Okay, so obviously make sure that you've got your advances and things like that done, but we can do them later on, I think. But next up, what I want to talk about is going to be the gear refines. Okay, so obviously I've talked about some of the stats that we're looking for. However, on gear refines, this is where you can really start to get a lot of those stats in. So if you can see this one, for example, we have an SSR on speed, so that's plus 2.4%, which is huge. Now, one thing I'm going to say is, whilst gear refines are really super awesome, don't spend all your refining dust on them at the moment. Okay, so that's the stuff that you get. I think it's called refining dust, right? That's the stuff that you get if, say, for example, we salvage all refining sand. Sorry, don't spend all your refining sand on it. Because you are going to increase on level. So, and as you increase on level, what you're going to see is you're going to unlock even better refines. So personally, I've spent a little bit just to try and get some semi-decent refines, but I'm not trying to get the absolute best ones ever. However, if I was, I'd be looking for maximum, trying to max out my speed, okay, because that's going to be really, really important for that Swordsman DPS build. Now, some other stats that you can look for would be focus, attack, and crit. But they're kind of filler stats. Speed is really what you want. If you can get that speed on every single piece 3 times, that would be huge. That would have a huge, huge, huge benefit to your DPS. Now, heading back on over to this tab, let's check out mount. Now, unfortunately, I have not got any super duper cool mounts yet. However, let's talk about if you do have some super duper cool mounts. Again, tongue twister. So Slayer Guard would be my number 1 recommendation. Reason for that is we're going to see a 30% increase to all skill damage, which is just simply awesome. And then next up, we're going to go for Bad Boy. So that's a 100% chance to deal an additional 500% attack true damage on active skill cast. And then Nebulite as well. So Nebulite's actually 50% chance to deal an additional 1000% attack true damage. So Nebulite and Bad Boy are pretty much the same. It just kind of depends on your risk. Personally, I put Bad Boy slightly ahead of Nebulite just because I like things to be consistent. But if you're okay taking that risk, or perhaps you're in a situation where you need that extra 500% and that can be the difference between winning or losing, then obviously that's the one to go for. But Slayer Guard's going to be my number 1 choice. And this is for PvP, okay? So this is for PvP. A lot of this information is for PvP. However, I hear that you guys will probably also want some PvE information, right? So if we're looking for PvE, you are going to want to change mounts. The best PvE mount, in my opinion, has got to be Jade Sky Wraith. This is because when HP remains above 70%, we're going to be increasing that global damage by 45%. Now, often in PvE, I don't know about you, but dying isn't really the issue. Often it's killing the thing in fast enough time. Right, often you've got about 30 seconds to kill whatever it is that you're trying to kill, and so that 45% global damage is going to come in clutch. Next up, we got the Sky Brown Ruination. It calls upon your mount, dealing 2000% attack damage to enemies in a circular area around you every 10 seconds. Triggers up to 5 times. Now, remember when I told you the Swordsman class tends to only attack, or it does only attack one entity at a time? There's not a huge amount of AoE in its skill set. This is going to change that. It's actually going to boost that AoE, making it a lot better in those PvE situations. Now, coming in at 3rd place, it's got to be the Stormflame Wheel. So increase 1% crit and 1% crit damage every second, up to 20% each. Now, when you're in those boss fights, you usually have about 30 seconds to kill them. This means that you can get an additional 20% crit and 20% crit damage, which for a classic swordsman is actually pretty clutch. So yeah, I really recommend looking at this mount as well. Going to be my 3rd place mount for PvE. I mean, my first has got to be Jade Sky. I think that's just insanely OP. But yeah, that's going to be the build from the mount perspective, I think. So next up, we're moving on to relics. So relics are one of those things I don't really want to give you super specific information on because they can be a little bit hit or miss on how you get them, right? It's a bit lucky. So instead of giving you specific relics, I'm going to say look for their effects, look for that speed, look for that attack, look for that damage. and upgrade those ones. So if you get any of those ones, make sure you upgrade it. Now, I made a little bit of a mistake and I didn't really do this whilst I was figuring out the game. However, going forward, for example, I have the Phoenix Plume. And if you see there, it says for every 10 level gained, attack increases by 270 and then plus 15 as well. So that means for every stage that I go through, I'm going to be increasing my attack by 285. So this is something that I'm going to be looking to upgrade because attack is huge when you're trying to get your DPS up as a swordsman, obviously. So I'm going to be making sure to prioritize that. So check through your relics and see what is actually useful. So again, it's attack, damage, and speed. That's the ones that you're really, really looking for here, okay? But anyway, moving on, let's talk about the vessel. The vessel is going to be up next. This is what unlocks on day 10 of a new server. So this is actually somewhat new to the game as a whole, because obviously the game hasn't been out for very long yet. Now, I'm not going to say too much on the vessel, obviously just upgrade it, etc, etc. However, one thing that I do want to say is that you can actually deploy different vessels if you can get the different ones. Now here, there's no super obvious choice. However, I would say go for the Worldly Scroll should you be able to get it with that crit. When in doubt, crit it out. You know, if you don't see an option for speed or damage or attack and things like that, go for crit. Now, obviously, we have Alpine Tune at the bottom here as well, global damage bonus, another solid one. So, yeah, I'd pick between those two, Worldly Scroll and Alpine Tune. That will get you set. Okay, as promised in the start of the video, it is DPS testing time, so I actually had to restart my game because the DPS test was not working. That sometimes happens, it's a bug, obviously it's a new game, there's a few bugs in the game unfortunately, but we're heading over to that DPS test. So I think at the start of the video, we were doing, what was it, around about 30-40 million damage per second. Look at how we're doing already right now, so we're sitting around about 150 million marks. We're going to see where we end up, but anyway, it is substantially higher from when we first started this video, right? Like seriously higher, and it's only been 10 minutes worth of fixes, if that. So let's see what we finish up here. We're going to finish up on a cool camp, 179 million. So we have pretty much roughly times 5. I can't remember the exact starting number, but roughly times 5 our starting DPS from just 10 minutes ago. So hopefully you can replicate these results. Hopefully you will also see a massive gain in your damage per second, because it's super easy. Let me know in the comments below, how much DPS did you actually gain? I would love to hear, so if you let me know, that'd be great. But anyway, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe, drop us a like, and press that little bell button as well to make sure you get notified of all future videos, and I will see you in the next one.